know, to be completely fair, if you take something wonderful and beautiful, the most beautiful thing you can possibly imagine, and then you destroy it, you burn it down to ashes, dust, nothing left. Anything you do to it after that, you can claim to have built it back better. Welcome back to the Bull and Burley. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to talk about Baren's HH Pure Virginia. Alright, I'm kind of a, myself, I lean more towards Virginias. If you hear the wind, forgive me for the audio. It's pretty windy where I'm at today, but I got the windows open. But anyway, I am a pretty big aficionado of pure Virginias, like just straight Virginia blends. I tend to get tongue bite pretty easy, so I have to be careful with the Virginias, and it's like always being on a constant hunt for a great Virginia. Now I've some of my top contenders, like Green Dragon, Peretti No. 8. I love that stuff. Cornell and Deal's Blockade Runner, Rum Soaked Virginia. That one's really good. But I was kind of looking for something just as kind of old world as you can get with the Virginias. And this Pure Virginia, the HH line, came up in conversation a lot. So I decided to get a couple tins of it, and I'm really glad I did. It is, from the box, a blend of both air-dried and flue-cured Virginia tobaccos. HH Pure Virginia is 100% Virginia tobaccos from regions with the highest reputation for growing the finest Virginia leaf in the world. Like all tobaccos in the HH family, this blend has no top flavor and only minimal casing used in order to put the natural tobacco taste in front. You will experience the natural sweetness of the Virginia tobacco. And I agree. This can I got in was made in December of 2021, so it's not quite a year old yet. I did open it when I first got it. Was at the end of the year last year, or the beginning of this one, and I went through one pipe in it, and it kind of burned me a little bit. So I set it aside. I decided to let it mellow for a few months. I admittedly do tend to smoke a little hot and a little too moist when it comes to Virginia. So I decided to let this one mellow a bit, and I'm really glad I did, because I'm breaking it out today and smoking it again for the first time in a few months. First of all, I'll say the tin note, or the tin art on this, is wonderful stuff. I love the way that Baren does their tins with their logo, with their gold filigree type of letterings, and usually they're pure and simple tones of like darker with lighter contrasting backgrounds, or lighter with darker contrasting backgrounds, and then they usually ghost images and stuff like that in the back. And whoever does the tins at Baren, beautiful stuff, wonderful stuff, great designs. Alright, let's cover the tin notes. Let's give it a little sniffer. The packaging is excellent on this stuff, and I will zoom in. The square box is actually one of the things that drew me to this. This one's been aged about under a year, so maybe 6 to 9 months, we'll say. And as soon as you open it, man, you get the grass, the hay, all that wonderful Virginia stuff. It comes in these little flakes. Man, it does remind me of hay, almost purely hay, like alfalfa hay. Man, that's good stuff. Good smelling stuff. Right off the bat, I knew, like, okay, with the smell at least, like, I like that. That's going to be good. A little bit of tingle in the nose there. I am kind of allergic to some grasses and hays and stuff, so. Don't do it. Alright, back to it. I already got the charring light going here. I'm smoking in my Nordesian. It's one of my favorite Virginia pipes. Oh man. Wow, look at that. It's got really good rich creamy smoke to it. I did break up the flake a little bit. I rubbed it out a little bit and let it dry for a few minutes. Not very long, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. If that, it was kind of quick. Immediately getting that sweet Virginia. What is that? Is that? I mean, yeah, I'm immediately getting that sweet Virginia flavor. That note that is iconic to good pure Virginias. There's a complexity to this that is pretty intriguing, and you know, now that I've matured as a piper, and specifically with Virginias, I've learned how to smoke them a little slower and a little milder without getting as much tongue bite. I enjoy that it doesn't have any casing or topping. Or minimal casing, no topping. I'm not getting any of the vinegar tang that's sometimes present with some of the Virginias. There is some spice tingle. I can easily see this being an all-day smoker. Something, you know, to reach for a couple times a day regularly. Definitely wants for a little bit of a looser pack, I've found with it. Like packing it kind of loose and leaving the flakes whole until you actually rub them out for a smoke. Yeah, that's good stuff. Let me savor this for a minute here and get back to you. Okay, I'm not really sure what's happening with my camera, but it's acting a little squirrely, and it's a really expensive camera, so I hope it doesn't go out on me. Been savoring this here for a minute. It kind of reminds me of, let's see, let's break it down. This one reminds me of Blockade Runner. And a lot of the other Cornell and Deal Virginias in the quality of leaf. So Mac Baren always use really quality leaf. They don't make junk tobaccos usually. Same with Cornell and Deal. So it reminds me of Blockade Runner, but without the rum casing, or without that rum taste to it. There's a little bit of tingle to it. That's kind of, I can see this one biting really easy if you don't go slow with it. I'm gonna say aging it and dry time is gonna be probably key to this one. I'm gonna work my way through this this tin this week. I'm focused just on having that every day, or when I smoke, and just experiencing the whole thing, top to bottom. Yeah, that's clean. That's clean Virginia taste right there. There's almost a little bit of honey note to it. Honey and hay, that's what I get the most out of it. Honey and hay, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy good Virginia. Not super heavy on the nicotine, which is nice. Been watching a lot of period dramas lately, and this kind of tobacco always reminds me of colonial times, for whatever reason. I don't know why. The Burleys were probably more period accurate to that time, but the Virginia leaf, I'm no expert on tobacco genus, species, and origin outside the norm, what you can find in general on the internet, but I would assume the Virginia leaf was named because it originated in Virginia, or was a strain that was kind of championed there in the early days. But Burley's considered the king of tobaccos, where I would say Virginia's probably the queen of tobaccos. So between the two families are the most historical period correct tobaccos you'd find, I'd say, in colonial America. So this reminds me the most of that, because there is no topping, there is no casing. This and pure Burleys remind me of that, because you don't have any of the medicinal or synthetic casings on them. They're just pure tobaccos, and this is what makes me fall in love with. This right here, this taste, this flavor, this experience I'm having, this is what made me fall in love with pipe smoking. Right here, yeah, that's the stuff like that. What was it? The first pipe tobacco I ever smoked was Colt Conspiracy, which was really good. And the second one was a Virginia, but I can't remember which one. It was probably a Cornell and deal. Should have wrote it down. I didn't at the time. I was just going like crazy trying all these different blends, and I still am kind of. But the second one was a Virginia, and when I smoked it, it gave me a little bit of tongue bite. I'm still learning. I was still learning how to smoke, how to do cadence and stuff like that. But it was immediately like, oh man, that is good. Whoa, that's a whole different experience of any tobacco experience that I've ever had before. So yeah, on the note of colonial America, I've been working on what's called a patch knife. Patch knife. A patch knife was something, and they varied wildly in size, shape, style, and accoutrement. It's a patch or plug knife. It's something that early settlers would have carried on their belt, much like this character from a popular TV series. James Fraser from the Outlander series, one of the knives he carries in season 4. I really enjoyed. I saw it, and I was like, oh man, it's really cool looking. So I decided to try to make my own little iteration of it. Out of stainless Damascus, and so I'm working on that right now. But that patch knife, plug knife, that kind of thing, it's the type of thing you would see on pretty much every belt, men or women, in colonial times. It was like your daily driver, you know. It was a daily use knife that you carried with you everywhere you went. You used it in all scenarios and circumstance. You could use it for fixing rope, corralling a deer, skinning a deer, getting guts out. And cutting plugs off your tobacco, harvesting tobacco, or testing leaf and stuff like that. So instead of trying to make a period correct piece, I've just decided to kind of make my own iteration based off of or inspired by that design I saw in the show. And I haven't gotten a great look at the overall total knife, but I kind of know what the handle looks like, and I kind of know what the blade looks like based off of historical reference and based off of some snapshots of the video. So I kind of drew up my own design and decided to make myself one for deer season this year. Mac Baren HH Pure Virginia. That is probably one of the top tobaccos I've ever experienced so far, as just straight quality. The smell, beard aroma. Let's give it a beard aroma. I mean, I'm partial to Virginias anyway. This one doesn't have a very, very bold flavor or smell to it, but it's very good. So I'm gonna give it about a 3, because it's right in the middle of strength. It's kind of low on the strength scale, but it is a good smell. 3 to 4. It's not overly strong, but it is pleasant. Definitely a high-end tobacco. Definitely one of those worth buying, worth stashing. I'm curious to see how it'll age, which I do have a couple tins of this in my cellar right now aging. So I'm curious to see after a year or two how it ages, if it gets sweeter. The sweetness isn't super present or super forward in this, but it is there. It's mild right now. It's more the hay and grass, clean hay and grass taste of Virginia in this one than it is sweetness. So I'm anxious to see after a couple of years. This is what I'd put in the category of a boutique Virginia. Something you buy and a couple tins of it a year, set it aside and savor it at specific times or for special occasions. Definitely. Mac Baren HH Pure Virginia. Love it. All right, I just wanted to add some final thoughts. Sitting here savoring this thing for about an hour now almost. I'm about to light up a second bowl. What it is about Virginias, this one's got a little bit of a honeysuckle note to it, which I kind of noticed the longer I got into it, which is really nice. But the thing I noticed about Virginia is that they're just more of a pleasing smoke to me. They tend to have a very overall pleasing effect, and they're not heavy on nicotine, so I'm pretty sure it's not the old vitamin N buzz, but It's a very satisfying element to Virginias for me. Burleys are nice. I like Burleys. I really enjoy some of the better Burleys by Baren out there and stuff. They give you a nice mellow. But the Virginias just give me this overall satisfied feeling when I have a smoke. And I usually only need like that. Those are the kind of days I only usually have one, and just enjoy it and be done. And I'm completely satisfied with the smells and the experience. They take a little longer, typically, to, you know, like you sit down and savor it a little bit more and be a little more patient and calm. And maybe that's kind of the point. Patience, calmness, stillness, time to savor and reflect. I tend to get that more with the Virginias than anything. I hope you find good friends, fair winds, and cool smokes.